Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Wow, what a weekend in the NAI. Bad weather, snow, postponements, reschedule. Buckle up. Cascade Hoops Talk starts right now. Cascade Hoops Talk, produced in the shadow of the beautiful Cascade Mountains and bringing the world NAI basketball. One podcast at a time. Well, we're going to go through this here. Some conferences were able to play. You know how the weather pattern went. I don't have to tell you. Several conferences had to cancel games. We'll try to catch up on that as best we can. As always, check your local listings. Let's start in the Crossroads. They were able to get the full slate of games in. Number one, Grace College. They were able to defeat Taylor 83-70. Gage Sefton, he had a double-double. And Ian Rosh, 15 points, 8 rebounds. Who's going to beat Grace? I don't know. They are a machine. They remind me a lot of College of Idaho last year. But let's don't get ahead of ourselves. Also in the Crossroads, Bethel got back on the winning track, winning at Marion by the hair of their chinny chin chin. Luke McBride, he had a jumper with 23 seconds to go. That held up for the win, and they won that 81-80. Austin Kripe, he had 22 points, 5 rebounds. Colin Comer, 14 points, 2 rebounds. They go to 17-3. They're going to host Goshen on Wednesday. Indiana Wesleyan, they won at Goshen. Goshen gave them a pretty good game. They were up at halftime. Took them to overtime. Indiana Wesleyan controlled the overtime, but great showing by Goshen at Goshen. Indiana Wesleyan goes to 17-3 now. Isaac Andrews, 15 points, 5 rebounds in this game. And Julius Gizzi, 23 points, 3 rebounds. And the Indiana Wesleyan Wildcats will host Taylor on Wednesday. And Taylor, as we said, they fell to Grace 83-70. They go to 16-4 now. And they said, as I already said, they'll be at Indiana Wesleyan on Wednesday. Here's the rest of the games across the league. Huntington won. They stay in the hunt. We already talked Bethel, and we talked about Indiana Wesleyan. The standings, let's get to the standings, try to show you them a little closer. So Grace now is 10-0. Taylor is 8-2. They're in sole possession of second place. Bethel and Indiana Wesleyan are tied at 7-3. So if we sneak over here to the upcoming games on Wednesday, Taylor will be at Indiana Wesleyan, as we said. Grace will be, they're hosting St. Francis. Will St. Francis have anything for them? I don't know. And Huntington will be at Mount Vernon as Huntington battles to try to stay in that top 4. You can see right now they're a game out. The Mid-South Saturday games were canceled. They're going to be made up on February 2nd, according to their website. So Freed Hardeman right now is 20-1, and they're going to be at Georgetown on Thursday. University of the Cumberlands, they're 17-3. They will host Bethel on Thursday. And Georgetown is now 15-5 after their loss to Cumberlands on Thursday. They will host Lindsey Wilson this coming Thursday. Here's the updated standings. Freed Hardeman is definitely in first place, 5-0. Lindsey Wilson is in second place at 3-1. And then the Cumberlands and Georgetown are tied in third. The KCAC Saturday games were also canceled. They're rescheduled for Monday. So Oklahoma Wesleyan is 17-2. They're going to host Tabor on Monday. And Friends, they're 15-4. They'll host Kansas Wesleyan on Monday. Kansas Wednesday on Monday. They'll host Kansas Wesleyan on Monday. And then a game that was played on Sunday night, Bethel fell to McPherson at McPherson, 82-77. Joseph Gonzalez, 17 points, 3 rebounds. KJ Marshall, 16 points, 5 rebounds. Bethel now goes to 16-4. But I got to take my hat off to McPherson. It looked like they were beat. It went to 65-55. I'm trying to remember. It was 5 minutes or something to go. And they were able to come back, push this game to overtime, and get the win there at home on Sunday. So here's the games that are being made up. We already played the Bethel McPherson game. We mentioned Oklahoma Wesleyan will be hosting Tabor. You can see them right there. Friends in Kansas Wesleyan. Here's the standings as they stand at the moment. Oklahoma Wesleyan is 2 up on McPherson in the loss column. And then you can see Friends in Bethel. It's really these top 4, not taking anything away from Southwestern College, but right now it's really these top 4. So here's the key games. These are all on Wednesday. Avila is going to be at Oklahoma Wesleyan. And Friends is going to be at University of St. Mary. Friends should have the advantage of that one. But what is it, folks? That's right. It's a road game. Bethel will be hosting Southwestern College. And then McPherson has to go to Tabor College. So it's getting interesting in the KCAC. In the Sun, Ave Maria, they win again. They went to Weber International, beat them 93-79. Michael Kleckis, 31 points, a 30 spot again. 31 points, 2 rebounds. Marlon Bennett, 14 points, 4 rebounds. So they'll be at New College on Wednesday. And as I said, they're 19-2. Kaiser defeated St. Thomas at St. Thomas. That was a good hurdle for them to get over. Kaiser goes to 16-3. In this one, Cameron James, 22 points, 9 rebounds, and Nadir Myers, 17 points, 6 rebounds. Kaiser will be in a non-conference game today at Florida College. Here's the other games. The only other game really to bring up is Florida Memorial beat Southeastern. That surprised me. Bad loss for Southeastern. They were just getting some traction on the national picture. Here's the standings in the Sun. Ave Maria is 1 game up on Southeastern, and Kaiser Florida Memorial now is only 1 game back. So it's tightening up in that conference as well. Kaiser has a non-conference against Florida College. What is that? Tomorrow. And then Southeastern is going to be at Coastal Georgia on Wednesday, and Warner will be at Florida Memorial. New College will be at Ave Maria, but Ave Maria is really, really tough at home. In the SAC, the Sooner Athletic Conference, Saturday games are canceled due to weather. So Langston is 15-4, and they're going to be hosting Oklahoma City on Thursday. I don't know when they're making their games up yet. They didn't. I don't think they've said yet. Thursday, Nelson will be playing Panhandle on Thursday. They'll be hosting them, and they're at 16-3 right now. Take a look at the standings. They haven't moved since last time we talked, but Nelson is still a game up on Langston, and Oklahoma City is right there tied with Langston. Texas Wesleyan is a half game back. I love these races. All these races are so tight this year. What's going to happen on Thursday? Wayland Baptist is going to Texas Wesleyan. Take note of that. John Brown is at Mid-America Christian. They're both in the mid-pack right now. They're both kind of playing a spoiler role, but that could end up being game for position. And a big game. Oklahoma City has to go to Langston. Sam Conkey has his team playing really, really well. Can they get a signature win on the road? That's yet to be seen. In the GSAC, Hope International, man, they beat Park Gilbert, but they needed overtime to do it. And this was you talk of racehorse basketball, 120-117, adding by 33 points, 9 rebounds. Big Nick Hopkins, 25 points, 8 rebounds. And as I say, they defeated Park Gilbert at home, 120-117. They go to 16-4. They host La Sierra on Tuesday. Arizona Christian at Life Pacific. A good win for Arizona Christian. Life Pacific has been a tough place to win this season. Arizona Christian wins this 82-61. Shad Bradley, 19 points, 6 rebounds. S.A. Onakpoma, 17.7 rebounds. Arizona Christian goes to 16-5, and they're going to host Benue Mesa on Thursday. Remember, Benedictine Mesa got them at home. So, yeah, I'm sure Rudder's doing a little extra planning for that one. Benedictine Mesa, speaking of them, they fell to the Masters. That was their second straight loss. In that game, Avery Jackson, 26 points, 4 rebounds. Tiago Soares, 19.7 rebounds. So Benedictine Mesa goes to 19-3, and they will, as we said, they'll be at Arizona Christian on Thursday. Here's the rest of the games. The only other one to talk about, Embry-Riddle won again. They're playing pretty well. They beat OUAZ. And I didn't get the other half of the score. Anyway, they beat OUAZ. The standings in the GSAC, the Masters. Look at that. Look at that. Late in December, everybody's writing the Masters off. They're now leading the GSAC. They're a game up on Arizona Christian. What is that? Game and a half up on Hope International. And then 2 full games up on Benedictine Mesa. And don't forget about Embry-Riddle. Remember now, in this conference, the top 4 make the playoffs. So Embry-Riddle is going to scramble. I don't understand why they only have 8 games in. I should have asked Coach Tucker that. But they're going to scramble and scramble and scramble. They want to get in that top 4. So on Thursday, as we said, Benedictine Mesa at Arizona Christian. Embry-Riddle will be at Park Gilbert. Embry-Riddle can't trip up. They have to win that. And then Hope will be at Life Pacific. Life Pacific, again, it's on the road, and that is a tough place to play. I think they're 9-3 or 10-3 there. The Appalachian Conference, their Saturday games were postponed, so Pikeville is 17-3 after that loss to Milligan. They're going to host Spartanburg on Saturday. They did get a couple games in on Friday. These aren't going to fit in here, but Bryan defeated Spartanburg, and Montreat fell to Columbia. That was a tough loss for Montreat. I'll show you right here in the standings. So Pikeville is in control, but see, Montreat now is 7-6 instead of, they could have been 8-5. They could have been up here. Big loss for Montreat. Look at that. That's a train wreck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is that? 1,000 teams within a game and a half. So what's going on what is this? On Wednesday, they play Tennessee Wesleyan at Union Commonwealth. That's a position game. Johnson has to go to Reinhardt. Johnson is really battling for the number 2 spot. And then Montreat has to go to Milligan. So Montreat has got to win that game. And Truett McConnell, also battling for position, has to go to Columbia. In the WAC, Indiana Tech beat Rochester Christian. It's a good hurdle for them to get over. They beat them 83-66 there in Fort Wayne. Blake Davison, 24 points, 10 rebounds. Jackson Fugate, 23 points, 6 rebounds. The Warriors of Indiana Tech go to 16-3, and they're going to be at Lawrence Tech on Wednesday. Here's the other games across the WAC conference. Lords beat Michigan Dearborn. They were all pretty much as expected. Madonna beat Aquinas, and Cornerstone won again. They're on a bit of a roll. That's why I started that game. Here's the standings. Indiana Tech is a full game up on Madonna. Lords is right behind. Cornerstone is 7-7. I don't think they'll get into the top 4, but they may, because Rochester, they could. Rochester Christian is 8-6, but that's like all the conferences, it's tightening up. So this Wednesday, Defiance will be at Lords. Lords needs a win. Madonna is going to go to Cornerstone. They have to go to Grand Rapids. Madonna needs a win to keep pace with Indiana Tech. Rochester Christian has to go to Aquinas. Tough trip there for Rochester Christian. And Indiana Tech has to go to Lawrence Tech. Lawrence Tech hasn't had the season they were hoping for, but they're a very dangerous team. Also, Michigan Dearborn will be at Cleary. In the Red River, LSU Shreveport on Thursday lost to Jarvis Christian. They didn't play this weekend. Right now they're 15-4, and they host Louisiana Christian this coming Saturday. Some of these conferences got really complicated with the weather. Here's the games that did get in. Alexandria beat Xavier in overtime. Big win for Alexandria. Will show you they're really coming on in the standings. So LSU Shreveport now is only 1.5 games up on Alexandria. It looked like Shreveport was going to run away with this conference. But for third place, it's a big battle of 4 teams there. So on Thursday, LSU Alexandria is going to be at Texas A&M Texarkana. Tough road trip. Southwest has to go to Xavier. Xavier's going to need a home win. And LSU Shreveport is hosting Louisiana Christian. That's a game they should win. We'll have to see from there. Yeah, when you're counting on that should stuff, I get scared. I hate a game you're supposed to win. Montana Tech going to the Frontier. They defeated Montana Western, a big hurdle for them, 68-64. They go to 16-4. In this game, Hayden Deacons, 20.6 rebounds. Carson Pepper, 11.6 rebounds. As I said, they're 16-4, and they will be, that is wrong up there. They'll be at Carroll on Friday. Here's the rest of the games. So some key ones here. Bellevue won over Dakota State. That was a key win. Rocky Mountain beat Carroll. A key win for Danny Neville and the Grizzly Bears. Montana Tech, as we said, beat Montana Western. Let's go to the standings. Look at all those teams in that conference. 517 teams in this conference. Bellevue and Rocky Mountain right now are tied for first. Carroll's 1 game back. Montana Tech is 1 more game back, and then Dakota State another game back. So right now they're all jockeying both for the win of the conference and for playoff position. Coming up on Friday, they're going to have a full weekend. This weekend, Bellevue will be at Mayville State. Again, Bellevue, on paper, Bellevue is much better than Mayville, but Mayville is tough at Mayville. Montana Tech will be at Carroll, and Montana Western will be at Rocky Mountain. That's all on Friday. And on Saturday, Bellevue has to go to Valley City, another tough place to win. Montana Western will be at Carroll, and Montana Tech and Rocky Mountain, that will be a showdown. That will be at Rocky Mountain. So that should give them a little bit of a... Montana Tech's hard place to win because of the elevation, but that should be a battle. See, what is this? Heart of America. This game is scheduled now for Monday. Graceland's going to play Mid-American Nazarene. Right now, they're 17-3. They did get some games in, though. Missouri Baptist won. Grandview won. These are all teams fighting for position. And William Penn. You know, I've been following them pretty close. You know that. William Penn won again. They're making some noise in the Heart. That's kind of good to see. They've been down the last couple of years. So right now, Graceland's 11-1. William Penn is, what is that? Anyway, they're getting close. I'm not going to get the calculator out. And then you can see Missouri Baptist and Missouri Valley, Grandview, Central Methodist all battling for third or second or whatever they're battling for. It's really close though. Here's the key games as I see them tonight. Graceland's going to be at Mid-American Nazarene. Again, I know I say it all the time. Forget the records. Mid-American Nazarene, it's hard to win there. Those are the games tonight. Oregon Tech, they had a tough pair this weekend. They beat Northwest on Friday, 79-75. In that game, Dakota Reber, 23.6 rebounds. Jackson Cooper has just been on fire for Oregon Tech. 31.7 rebounds and 5 assists. And then on Saturday night, they went down to Olympia and Evergreen, who had probably even though they lost both games, they just lost to Southern Oregon by a couple possessions, and same thing to Oregon Tech. Cameron Swanson has that team playing really, really well right now. Very energetic, really giving some teams a hard time. It's good to see that team hasn't been very competitive the last few years, but boy, they're getting after it right now. Anyway, in this game at Evergreen, Dakota Reber, a double-double, 26 points, 10 rebounds. He's another guy that's had just a fantastic year for Oregon Tech. And then Jackson Cooper, also a double-double, 20 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists. Oregon Tech right now is 15-5, and they're going to host LC State on Friday. Here's the other games in the conference. College of Idaho on Friday defeated LC State at LC State. Dougie Peoples, with 1 second to go, is 60 66-65. Dougie Peoples canned a three in Lewiston. In Lewiston. And College of Idaho got that win. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. So Dougie Peoples is one of the nicest guys in the NAI. On Saturday, LC State, they were victorious this time. They beat Eastern Oregon, one of the top teams in the conference, 77-73. Boy, that really sets up a big weekend. Let's look at the standings. I'll explain it to you. So right now, Oregon Tech and Southern Oregon, they're tied at 10-2. LC State, Eastern Oregon, College of Idaho, all tied for second, I guess that is, at 9-3. And then Bushnell just hanging around down there at 7-5. They're certainly in it still. So this weekend, on Tuesday, College of Idaho has to go to Eastern Oregon. That's a huge game. And then on Friday, LC State's at Oregon Tech. And then Bushnell has to go to Northwest. And Northwest is playing really good basketball right now. I'll be interested to see what happens there. And then on Saturday, Bushnell has to go over to Evergreen. Ditto for Evergreen. And LC State will be at Southern Oregon. So something's going to happen in the standings before February 1st. A lot of key games coming up. In the AMC, Columbia College, they were postponed. They're 18-2, and they're going to be at Crowley's Ridge on Thursday. They did get a couple games in this conference. Again, they're not going to fit. Crowley's Ridge defeated Mission, and Hannibal LaGrange beat Williams Baptist. That was for position, that game right there, 69-62. Let's look at the standings. Columbia still in the lead, but look at that. Hannibal LaGrange is a half game back, and Williams Baptist is another game back. So on Tuesday, you see that, and then on Thursday, Columbia has to go to Crowley's Ridge. Harris Stowe will be at Hannibal LaGrange. Hannibal LaGrange might catch them before the end of the week. We'll have to see. In the southern states, William Carey, they got the win on Saturday, 88-73. McKeem Roberts, 12 points, 18 rebounds, 18 boards, 18. And Anthony Robinson, 17 points, 4 rebounds. William Carey goes to 18-1, and they're going to be at Loyola on Monday. Here's the other games. These were all key for position. Loyola beat Bruton Parker. Bruton Parker, who was really on a roll, has struggled again. Life beat Mobile. Don't look at Mobile's record because they had ineligible players, why their record is so bad, but they're a very, very good team. And William Carey, as we said, beat Point. Let's look at the standings. They do the East-West thing. So Life is leading the East over Bruton Parker and Dalton State, and in the West, William Carey is a game up on Loyola. So William Carey plays Loyola tonight. Set your DVR. And then on Thursday, Loyola has to go to Dalton State. Tough trip. William Carey has to go to Life. Tough trip. And UT Southern has to go to Bruton Parker. So Bruton Parker will be at home. The other two have to travel. Let's take a quick look at the GPAC. In the GPAC, Morningside won. Briarcliff was able to get both games over the weekend. Morningside also won. They won by 1 at Doane. They survived Doane because, that is the place dreams go to die. Concordia won and Northwestern won. And Mount Marty won too. That's also a key one. I didn't mark that. Okay, let's look at the standings. I think Morningside's going to win this for sure. Concordia, Mount Marty, Northwestern, Briarcliff, they're all basically tied for second. I think there's a game difference there. But it's your typical GPAC race if you just take first place out of it. So on Wednesday, Hastings is going to be at Mount Marty. Dort has to go to Orange City and play Northwestern. And Briarcliff will be at the Corn Palace and play Dakota Wesleyan. Hey, that's what I have for you today. It was really kind of a messed up weekend. Just check your local listings and double check when all these makeup times will be. And I really appreciate everybody listening, and keep up with your local NAIA team. This is Billy D, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Please like and subscribe. Get out to your local NAIA school because NAIA basketball is the best entertainment value in America.